Okay, number one, we've got to complete this square. So we're going to move the 8 to the other side. So we have to subtract it away, so it'll be a negative 8. Leaving space for the c value that we want, we have to cut 6 in half. 6 off to the side. I can show you this as a refresher. We cut the 6 in half, the b value in half, and square it. So half of 6 is 3. Square that is 9. So I have to add 9 to both sides of the equations. Now the left side will factor to x plus 3 squared. And that number, remember, will always be half of b. Half of 6 is 3. Over here, when we added 9 to negative 8, I left with 1. And now I can square root both sides, plus minus. So x plus 3 is equal to plus minus 1. So I can make my two equations. X plus 3 equals 1. X plus 3 equals negative 1. Subtract the 3. Get x equals negative 2. And x equals negative 4. The next one, I've got to divide everything by 2. So I get x squared minus 12x plus 4 rather, equals 36. I'm going to subtract away that 4. Cut the negative 12 in half. That's negative 6 squared. We get 36. We're adding 36 to both sides. X minus half of negative 12 is negative 6, so it becomes x minus 6 squared. That equals 68 plus minus, when we square root, x minus 6 equals plus minus. Now we better see about a factor tree on 68. 2 and 34. It's 2 and 17. 17 nothing can do, but we can pull out this 2. So I'm left with square root of 17. And now for my two equations, I can probably fit them in here. X minus 6 equals the 2 square root of 17. And x minus 6 equals negative 2 square root of 17. We're going to have to add the 6 over. I'll just put it in front of the 2, so plus 2 square root of 17. And add 6 in front of here, so 6 minus 2 square root of 17. Those would be our answers. Number 3. Looks like I'm going to add, so half of negative 4 is negative 8, square that, I get 16. Add 16 to both sides. X minus 4 squared equals 32. So square root plus minus. 32 goes to 2 and 16. 16 goes to 4 and 4. 2, 2, 2, 2. Lots of 2s. So 2, 2, and then a leftover 2. Oops, I forgot my equals. X minus 4 equals plus minus. Pulled out 2 and another 2, so I pulled out 4, and there's a 2 left inside. So 4 square roots of 2. So x minus 4 equals 4 square root of 2. X minus 4 equals negative 4 square root of 2. Add the 4 over. So x equals 4 plus 4 square root of 2. X equals 4 minus 4 square root of 2. The next one, I have to divide everything by 3. So I have x squared plus 4x plus 2 is equal to 0. Subtract the 2 over. Half of 4 is 2. Squared is 4, so I need to add 4 to both sides. X plus 2 squared equals 2. X plus 2 equals plus minus square root of 2. I'm going to run out of room here, so I know I'm going to subtract 2. I'll have a plus square root of 2. And I'll have a negative 2 minus the square root of 2. Number 5. Subtract the 16 over. Half of negative 10 is negative 5. Squared is 25. So x minus 5 squared equals 9. Plus minus. X minus 5 equals plus minus. Square root of 9 is 3. So I'll have x minus 5 equals 3, and I'll have x minus 5 equals negative 3. Add 5 to 3, we get 8. Add 5 to negative 3, we get 2. So 2 and 8. And then number 6. Half of 2 is 1, squared is 1, so I'm adding 1 to both sides. X plus 1 squared equals negative 4. Square rooting a negative, so we're going to have an I in here. Plus minus, so square root of 4 is 2, and the fact that there was a negative in there means I put an I also, so plus minus 2I. So x plus 1 equals 2I, and x plus 1 equals negative 2I. Subtract the 1, so negative 1 plus 2I. And subtract the 1 over here, negative 1 minus 2I. So there's our completing the square. So to add, I need to find these like what I can pull out first, simplify each one first. So I can pull out a 7. There's already a 2 out there. So the 2 and the 7 together will make 14. And this 2 is stuck on the inside. For 50, it's 2 and 25. Goes to 5 and 5. We get to pull a 5 out. Oh, there's already a 3 there. Forgot about that. So pull a 5 out times 3 is 15. Left the square root of 2. So 14 square root of 2 plus 15 square root of 2 is 29 square roots of 2. Number 8. I've got a square root of 5 won't simplify. The square root of 125 will. Goes to 5 and 25. So there's the pair of 5s. So the first one stays the same, 7 squared root of 5, minus, and pull a 5 out. There's already a 3 there, so 5 times 3 is 15. This 5 stuck on the inside. Plus, and then 45 will simplify. Oops, 5 and 9. That's what I meant to put. So we're going to pull a 3 out. There's already a 10 there, so 10 times 3 is 30. The 5 stuck inside. Now the radical parts, the square parts are all the same. Square root of 5, square root of 5, square root of 5, so we can combine them together. 7 minus 15 is negative 8, plus 30 is 22. So 22, and then tack on the square root of 5. Number 9 is multiplication. 3 times 2, those are the rational parts. They multiply together to make a 6. The square root parts, square root of 5 times square root of 10, multiply together to make a square root of 50. I can break that down. Pull a 5 out. There's already a 6 there, so 5 times 6 is 30. And 2 is stuck inside there. 30 square root of 2. Number 10, we can't have a square in the denominator, so we multiply by square root of 11. So 4 square root of 11 over square root of 11 times square root of 11 is 11. So there's our answer. 4 and 11 do not simplify, so I can't do anything. This 11's in a square root, so it can't combine with that 11. Number 11, the square root part is the square root of 3. That's what I want to multiply by. So in the top, oh, actually, before I even start this, let's back up a step. The top would have simplified. Square root of 4 turns into just 2. Let's do that first. Okay, now, there's a square in the bottom, so I would multiply by square root of 3. So 2 square root of 3. Or 5 times, and square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9, but square root of 9 is just 3 times 5, so the denominator becomes 15. Back page. We've got these complex numbers. Go ahead and add them. 3 plus 8 is 11. 8i minus 2i is 6i. Number 3, we're subtracting. Negative 3 minus negative 5, that's like negative 3 plus 5, which is 2. 6i minus negative 3i, that's like 6i plus 3i, so that's 9i. Don't foil on these two problems. They were not multiplication, they were addition and subtraction. Number 14, I can distribute. So negative 8i, 4i times negative 8i, that's negative 32i squared. But I squared, whoops, I squared is equal to negative 1, so we need to simplify this. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 32. But then we want standard form, we want the real part first, the imaginary part last, so switch it around, 32 first, negative 8i last. Number 15 I have to FOIL. Negative 56 plus 21i plus 48i minus 18i squared. Up there's a negative 1, so negative 18 times negative 1 will really be like a positive 18. So negative 56 plus 18 is going to be negative 38. 21i and 48i is going to be 69i. Number 16, I've got to multiply by the conjugate, the 4 minus 5i. Do it to the top and the bottom. 36 minus 45i. 16 minus 20i plus 20i minus 25i squared. That I squared. I'm going to simplify, so negative 25 times negative I is going to be like, or times negative 1 is going to be positive 25. So 16 plus 25 is 41. The i's cancel. Now if we write them as, two separate fractions, put 36 over 41 minus, and then it's the 45 over 41, and just put I right after it. 36 over 41 doesn't simplify, neither does 45 over 41, so there's our answer. Solve using square roots. Oh, here I can subtract 4 to get x squared by itself. 36, so square root, plus minus. So x equals plus minus 6. There's nothing else to do, so I don't need to write those separately. I can just use the plus minus there, it'll be okay. Square root plus minus. So x plus 3 equals plus minus square root of 1 is 1. I've got to go a step further, so I'm going to write my two equations. With the 1 and the negative 1, subtract your 3. From 1 you get negative 2. Here subtract 3 from negative 1, you get negative 4. 19, I've got to subtract that 24 away. Divide by 3. Square root plus minus 8, 2, and 4. 4 goes to 2 and 2. Also, there's a pair of 2's, and there's a 2 left inside. X minus 4 could equal 2 square root of 2, or x minus 4 can equal negative 2 square root of 2. Add the 4 over. Add the 4 over. Give us those answers. Number 20, factoring. Okay. Well, there's a lot of numbers that could multiply to make 12. Not so many that can multiply to make 2. Let's try 4x. So 3x and 4x, let's try 1 and 2. They multiply to a negative, so one's positive, one's negative. If I do the outside of FOIL, I get 6x. Inside of FOIL makes 4x. If one's positive, one's negative, they won't make 5. That won't work. So let's switch the 1 and the 2 around. Try that. So So now we get 3 and 8. That looks promising. So I want a -5, so if 8's negative, if I do 3 minus 8, that's -5. That's what I want. So the 2 times 4x, that was the 8x, so the 2 had to be the negative. We wanted the 3x to be positive, so 4 had to be positive. Okay, so we've got a factor now. It is an equation set equal to 0. And so now we set each factor equal to 0. So set 3x minus 2 equal to 0. So 4x plus 1 equal to 0. Add 2. Divide by 3. 2/3 is one of our answers. The other one, subtract the 1. Divide by 4. Okay, then number 21, we can factor out 3x from both terms, leaving me with x minus 3. Set each factor equal to 0. Set 3x equal to 0. Set x minus 3 equal to 0. Solve them both. Divide by 3. We get x equals 0. Add 3. I get x equals 3. Okay, so this one I'm going to bring everything to one side, so it's set equal to 0. Add the 9x over. Add the 18 over, because I want the x squared to be positive. Look for two numbers that multiply to 18 that add to 9. Looks like 6 and 3. They multiply to 18, they add to 9, good. So I set x plus 6 equal to 0. You get -6. Set x plus 3 equal to 0. You get x equals -3. So I'm going to set it equal to 0 also, subtract over the 33x. Divide everything by 3. X squared minus 11x plus 24 equals 0. I need two numbers that multiply to 24 that add to -11. Looks like it's got to be two negatives because they want to multiply to a positive. So -8 and -3. -3 times -8 is 24, and then you add them together, you get -11. Good. Set x minus 3 equal to 0, you get x equals 3. Set x minus 8 equal to 0. Solve, you get x equals 8. Okay. Thanks for watching.